So there are a bunch of exciting cool new games coming out this September. One of them is called Ad Infinitum, which is coming out September 14th, just in a few days. This game seems really interesting as it is set in a World War setting and has an amnesia vibe to it. The monsters are some kind of mutilated, combined creatures as you may have seen in The Forest. There is a grudginess that is in the atmosphere of this game, set with the fog and destroyed trenches and dirt everywhere that evokes a feeling of raw survival through war times. You can see that the game also tries to instill a nightmarish feeling from seeing wounded and physically and mentally destroyed soldiers. The graphics and visual storytelling seem to be very nice, and I hope it would actually be very engaging and full of surprises when you actually sit down and play the game. Fans of survival horror should definitely give this game a shot, as it genuinely seems very inspired from the OGs of the genre. Another game is Lies of P, coming out September 19th. So it seems like Bloodborne fans are going to be in love with this game, as it resembles a very similar aesthetic. You play as an elegantly dressed gentleman that seems to wield some type of magical abilities. The game does at the same time differ, as it has a lot of automaton-like enemies, so it is set in a sort of Victorian punkish setting. Maybe as a kind of nod to the Industrial Revolution and something going wrong with the AI of these automatons that ends up in a large catastrophe. Again, fans of the Souls genre will and are probably very interested in this game, and I'm sure it is going to receive a lot of praise when it launches, as many people don't really know if there will ever be another Bloodborne game, so I'm pretty sure fans will gladly take what they can get their hands on. Third up is Mortal Kombat 1. It's that time, the mighty Mortal Kombat is getting a series reboot. A funny comment was made saying, "Wow, thanks Ed Boon for letting everyone be part of the beta testing for the past almost 30 years. Can't wait to play it." Anyway, jokes aside, the game does seem to have a fresh new vibe to it. The visuals look more grounded in modernity and aren't trying to be too ostentatious that a few games before were doing to a degree. Of course, the cast of original characters is coming back along with a few new ones. The universe of Mortal Kombat, in my opinion, does seem to be a tad repetitive, and there isn't anything really new here in this game, as the game has to obviously follow the rules that the 30-year-long franchise has established. There is a tournament between Outworld and Earthrealm, and you are put in the midst of it, along with the beloved characters from before, along with the introduction of hopefully some fresh new ones that could possibly create more intrigue and variety and a new way to the story. Fighting fans are probably hyped, however, honestly I'm not too interested, as the games do seem the same with some new refined makeup. No offense to anyone who likes this still. Please don't fight me. Fourth on this list is Payday 3, coming out September 19th. This third installment of Payday seems to be doing things in a different direction opposed to the second game. Some might even say the third game is more of a successor to the first game. The gameplay is now slowed down a fair degree, and everything seems more deliberate from that. The stealth has also had an upgrade in many aspects, from the tools to the alerts, indicators of the enemies to the casing mode, hacking and camera abilities are all great additions. The game visually, however, doesn't seem to have any real spice or actual distinct flavor. You could argue that while the game doesn't need to, as it is just mainly office buildings and corporate installations that you're infiltrating, but they just seem kind of bland and really not fun inspiring. The openness of the levels does grant a great deal of creativity to the gameplay, so I would assume that is what people flock to for this game, for the way that you actually carry out a heist. Next up we have Cyberpunk 2077, the Phantom Liberty expansion, coming out September 26th. This is a huge update for the huge open world of Cyberpunk 2077. There is a whole new district to play and explore in, the perk system has been redesigned, there are dozens of new quests, the combat with the vehicles has been taken to a whole new degree, the police has had a complete revamp, there are now many more dynamic events and missions to embark on, the cap to max level has been increased, and there are many new weapons, cyberware upgrades, and a bunch of new clothing choices for you to have. This DLC has been in the works for a long time now, and it seems like CD Projekt Red has always wanted to release this with everything fluidly working this time. I personally haven't played Cyberpunk yet, as I was actually waiting for a lot of everything to be fixed in the initial release, and I thought I might as well wait for this DLC to then play the whole game in a fully polished state where it's bigger than ever. I hope there are other people that are excited for this DLC just as much as I am. Night City, here I come. Next is El Paso Elsewhere, coming out September 26th. This game is actually really interesting. It's a low poly third person game which has obviously had a large inspiration from the Max Payne series, with the actions of lunging, jump side to side and forward with the combinations of slow motion. The voice acting actually really hits the spot with the vibe, being a descent into getting final tasks done no matter the circumstances of the shattered and corrupted world the main character is now plunged into. However, instead of how Max Payne lavished in the criminal underworld, this game seems to want to lavish in the supernatural supernatural, as you are thrown into a cosmic shifting world between reality and some kind of mystic outer worlds, or possibly even some kind of time travel. Combined with the vampires and other ghastly creatures in the game, it definitely has a unique twist on a man wielding two guns. I was already a huge fan of any game that has this Matrix-like time manipulation or slow motion of bullet time, and I really hope this game will be caught on people's radar and that the campaign has an interesting progression accompanied by the realization of all these unique angles and concepts shown for the gameplay. Now, last but not least, we have Cocoon coming out September 29th, which is a very unique game designed by the lead gameplay designer of Inside and Limbo. This game has minimal graphics with a really interesting gameplay twist. You're able to shift out of worlds or levels that you traverse in and carry them to other locations on your back, and then shift out of those worlds to carry those cocoons of worlds to some kind of special task completion destination. I'm not too sure about the actual implementation of this interesting mechanic, however I'm sure it's going to make a lot of sense within the game. I just hope that this will be a fun implementation, as the past games Inside and Limbo have been also simple in design, but of course still fun from whatever mechanics that are there. Maybe this game will be as interesting as the others or even greater, as the world shifting could offer a large range of visual variation and gameplay variation to keep the player on their toes while still being very immersed in such a world.